We're very happy and proud that Formula E comes to India. It's at Hyderabad, a street circuit by the picturesque Hussain Sagar Lake. Oliver Rowland from Mahindra Racing joins me. Hi, Oliver. How are you doing? And how's India treating you?
Hi, yeah, I'm great, thank you. Yeah, so far so good. It's pretty hot here. So around 34 degrees in the day, so it's quite something to get used to compared to the 0 degrees in London. But yeah, so far so good. You know, it's a huge event here for Mahindra and for I guess the whole of Indian motorsport. So just really excited to get going with it.
Oliver, talk about the new Gen 3 car and the new regulations and how you're dealing with it.
Yes, obviously there's plenty of new things for us to sort of manage and handle. For this year the cars are quite a lot lighter. We have new battery systems, which the capacity is smaller, but the car has the potential to regenerate more because we now have a front powertrain on the front, which can also regenerate back into the battery. So there's lots of new challenges for us, which include new tires, which are a lot different to the previous year's tires, and yeah, it's quite a big challenge to get on top of. We were a little bit late with our car, but so far the results have been fairly positive, particularly over one lap, and we'll be pushing to try and get some good results this weekend.
Well, you must be very excited with the new cities that have been added. Hyderabad, where you are, Cape Town, Sao Paulo, Portland. What do you feel about the expansion of the cities as far as Formula E racing is concerned?
Yeah, I think it's mega. I think that the more of these amazing places that we can visit, we can race at, and also obviously showcase electrification in vehicles is very important for us. But yeah, as a driver, it's pretty cool to be traveling all the way around the world and visiting some of these new and amazing places.
Oliver, the new teams, Maserati, MSG, Neon, McLaren, your thoughts on them, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the McLaren is a evolution of what the Mercedes team was last year, so it's relatively all the same people with a different powertrain supplier, and very much the same. The Maserati team is a evolution of Venturi, so the two top teams from last year have turned into um, other manufacturers, should I say? But yeah, they're top outfits, and you see straight away that I mean, particularly the McLaren's been extremely competitive. So yeah, it's a great addition for the championship, and hopefully we can have many great battles with them in the future.
Let's talk a little bit about the sustainability aspect, how Gen 3 batteries are most advanced and sustainable, and the battery cells can be reused and recycled, and even the tires fully recycled after racing. And that must mean a lot to you, all the sustainability and recycling.
Well, yeah, I mean, we know that I think one of the biggest threats to us over the coming years is the threat that we pose to the planet in terms of how much damage we can do to it. So I think obviously Formula E was founded with obviously pushing electric vehicles and obviously helping in that direction not to pollute the world even more. So it's fantastic to see that the championship, the organizers and the teams are able to come together with things like batteries and the recycling of the tires and being the most efficient on how much energy we use here. Because on event, obviously we're having lots of renewable energies also, and the carbon neutral footprint is very important to us. So yeah, there's plenty of things that we're doing, and it's also very interesting to learn about and also adapt in our day-to-day life as well.
Well, apart from the weather, how does the track look? There's a lake by the side of the track. Is it picturesque? Your thoughts?
Honestly, I arrived this morning at the track and I've been very, very busy with media stuff, so I haven't managed to look at too much of the outside of the circuit. But certainly from the simulator, the track is pretty exciting. It's actually a very cool track to drive. I think it's going to be a big challenge for the drivers, and I'm looking forward to getting on the track. As for the rest of the picturesque stuff, hopefully I can see a little bit of that later on today and over the coming days.
Oliver Lucas Di Grassi is one of the most formidable names in Formula E. Your thoughts on him? How you're motivating each other?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't have to speak for his results speak for themselves, should we say? But it's good to see him come on board. He has a great work ethic, bringing plenty of experience with him. Plenty of things for me to learn from and understand from his side. And yeah, so far I think we have a pretty good working relationship. And it's going to be important to keep that and motivate that moving forward because, as we know in Formula E, two teammates working well together are a very important tool.
Well, your memorable moments in Formula E, your win in season six in Berlin must mean very much to you, Oliver.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, obviously, I waited a while for it. Had a lot of seconds and podiums and things like that, so I had to wait for it to come. But yeah, I would say that that's one of my highlights, probably alongside pole position in Monaco and my first one in Sanya. Of course, I want to reproduce this, and unfortunately, the last year and a half, I haven't been able to. So for sure, we'll be working as hard as we can to try and do the same. And if we could do something on home soil, that would be pretty spectacular, I think.
Oliver, there's a very interesting comment of yours from January last month that I read, where you said Formula E, the grid on average is better than Formula One. I'd like you to explain that to us because it's a very interesting comment.
So I was talking predominantly about the driver level, of course.
Hmm.
I think things are changing a little bit in Formula One at the moment, so that the in terms of where it was 2 to 3 years ago, I think you had some guys that were able to fund their way into Formula One, whereas in Formula E, you don't have that. So what's required here is pure ability and chosen off the teams in terms of they have to have the required skills and talent to be here. Formula One is changing, so it's not really fair to say that that's probably still relevant. But I believe that the average field of the grid in terms of drivers, there's a lot of guys here that could have been and should have been in Formula One and have been. We have quite a few drivers that have been there and also been successful. So I think on average, if you were to kind of share the grid one way or another, if we were to go there, they were to come here. I don't see in any way that I feel like the level here is very, very similar. The average comment was more based on some of the guys that were maybe filling up the bottom of the F1 field.
You yourself had such an interesting career in F2, Oliver. You were second in F2. You finished second in the championship. You were disqualified in 4 races. You were up there with Charles Leclerc, and really the only one that could have perhaps challenged him. How do you look back on your career? Are there any regrets, or you're just more than happy that you landed up in Formula E?
I don't think I have any regrets. There's things that I would for sure do differently. But at the same time, you need an element of luck in this game, right? You have to be in the right place at the right time with all the stars aligned. And unfortunately for me, I did a great job against Charles. We fought week after week. We were the reference there. Obviously, he's gone on to fantastic things in Formula One. I, of course, I would be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed that I didn't get there. However, the life that I have now, the things that I enjoy doing, my family, having also my private life to myself, I think is a very, very strong point for me. I know that lots of these guys can't visit places without being mobbed. And I think as Formula E drivers, we have a very nice balance as to when we're at the track, we're known pretty well. But when we're away with our families in private, we don't really get hassled too much. So we have a nice balance. And honestly, I'm very happy with where I'm at. I believe that I had the ability to be in Formula One, but it didn't happen. So I'm not gonna look back on that too much.
That's a lovely answer. Can you look at the driver standings as well as the team standings? Pascal is at 1, Dennis is at 2, Andretti is 1, Porsche is 2. How do you look at the team as well as the driver standings?
Well, I mean, it's been clear the first 3 races that the Porsche powertrains had a very strong start. They've been 1-2 in all the races so far, which has never happened in Formula E before. So yeah, for sure they have something very strong. It shows in the driver's standings. So of course we're only 3 races into a new generation of car. So hopefully for us things change on that side, and hopefully for them, obviously without wishing them bad luck, that the field closes up a little bit, and hopefully we can get on track with Porsche.
I know you get asked this a lot, but just for your India fans, what inspired you to get into motor racing as a kid? Did you have any favorite drivers? Did you have guys on the wall in your room at home?
Yep, I was actually into motorbikes. From the age of 2 to 3, I used to watch the Isle of Man TT. I used to have some idols, Joey Dunlop, some of the guys like that. And I had a quad bike when I was younger, and I was keen to go motocross racing or road bike racing, but my mum wouldn't let me. So then I ended up in go-karts, and now I'm here. But of course, since I started that around 5 years old, I've followed a lot the Formula One and had various heroes. But I would say my first ones were more from the Isle of Man TT.
It's wonderful. Just a couple of lifestyle questions before we wrap. Hyderabad is famous for its biryani. Have you had a bit of that for dinner, or have you just been too busy working?
I haven't since I've been here, looking after my weight ahead of the weekend, but I haven't managed to have any. But it's one of my favorite dishes at home if I ever have Indian. So I didn't know that fact. So for sure, I'll be trying some out before I leave.
Yeah, Hyderabadi biryani. What's your favorite place to holiday, alone or with the family? A travel destination that you go to and say, "Wow, I can kick back here, Oliver."
So when I was younger, I used to obviously go to Ibiza with friends and have a lot of fun. Since I've got older and had a family, we still go there, but to see more of the beautiful parts of the island and the more relaxed side. And we're actually getting married there later this year, so I would go with Ibiza as one of my favorite places to kick back and relax.
Oh, many, many congratulations. Oliver, the last question would be, what kind of music do you listen to? What's on your phone? Do you like pop music, dance music, rock music?
I would say pop and dance. Honestly, I listen to a bit of everything. I tend to go on Apple Music and choose the hits and just listen to all the popular stuff. I quite like Coldplay. I quite like U2, some stuff like that from back in the day. But yeah, mainly just the most recent popular stuff.
What about Ed Sheeran and Harry Styles? Those boys from the UK are doing very well.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, and then obviously the Arctic Monkeys from Sheffield. I like
Yeah.
that. Things like
Your
that.
hometown.
Yeah.
That's- I really appreciate your time, Oliver, and I hope to see you by the racetrack when I come into Hyderabad. Lots of
Awesome.
love. See you.
So
Cheers.
much. Take care. Bye bye.
94.3 Radio 1.